Hey there, in this video I show you based on my recent participation in a game jam why prototyping is so important in game development. I took part in Ludum Dare 57, one of the longest running and most well known game jams out there. For those who don't know what a game jam is, it's a fun competition between game developers to make a full game prototype, usually within just 2 or 3 days. You can join solo or work in a team, and once the jam ends, participants play and rank each other's games. Most jams come with a theme that everyone builds their game around. In this case, the theme was depths. You're completely free to interpret the theme however you like, which leads to some really creative takes. So, what did I make? Well, I got feedback like, it's fun and a really interesting idea, but, you know, one of these kinds of review. Let me show you what happened. At the start of the event, I did some brainstorming with myself. Naturally, I first thought of obvious ideas like depths of the ocean, deep space, or digging underground. But then I realized depth's just a point of perspective. If I'm standing on a mountain, looking down, that's also depth. And that's how I landed on the idea of a hiking on a steep mountain trail. Now hiking alone sounds kind of boring, so I added a twist. Balance. The challenge is to keep your character from falling down the slope, aka the depth. To keep it light and a bit silly, I made the character wobbly, and that's how the game became Wobble Down. Sounds fun, right? Like you see here, I started in paint. Yes, paint. I drew a basic idea of the hiking path, a true artistic masterpiece. Then I imported it to Blender, started building a 3D version of the map. I decided to go with the low poly art style, mainly because I was doing everything by myself and time was ticking. Once the environment was done, I jumped it into Unity to build the actual game mechanics. To save time, I made the player move automatically along a predefined path and you could only control the speed. Then came the key part, the wobbliness. Character upper body would lean in the direction it's falling. If you lean too far, you tumble down. Factors like the slope, angle, speed, or any rotation or collision influence how much the character wobbled. The goal was to keep the character heads upright, balanced and stable, just like real hiking on a tricky path. After getting the core gameplay working, I added a UI element to show how close you were to falling off, and some other things. And that's when I did a small but huge failure. I will explain it in a moment. After that I spent time filling the level with obstacles like branches, rocks, snow, trying to make the mountain trail feel alive. But the level ended up way too big for a quick prototype. That alone ate a ton of my time. So by the time I had something playable and filled the whole level with life, I had no time left to polish it or optimize much. And here's the issue. Everyone playing it, included me, ended up staring at the UI meter in the corner instead of the actual level. I couldn't enjoy the atmosphere or beautiful wobbly hike. So yeah, that's not so fun if you're in a 3D game and just looking at the UI in the left corner. And this is why prototyping early and letting people test your game is so important. You can have a fun idea, cool visuals and solid mechanics, but a tiny design flaw can ruin the experience. If you catch that early on a prototype, it's easy to fix. But if you spend months working on a full game only to realize it doesn't work, you might end up throwing out a lot more than you wanted to. Fun fact, many indie game hits like Celeste or The Binding of Isaac started as a rough game jam prototype. Prototyping lets you fail fast and learn faster. Since starting my own solo game dev journey at the end of last year, I've been learning a ton about game design. What works, what doesn't, and what makes a good game truly fun. Even though Wobble Down wasn't perfect, the real goal for a game jam is to experiment, learn new things, and improve, and have fun. And I absolutely did. I'm already working on my second indie game coming soon to Steam. So if you're into indie dev stuff and indie games in general and all that, like, subscribe my channel and maybe check out my first game on Steam. Thanks for watching and until the next time, keep wobbling forward. Cheers!